Hey everyone, welcome to Moving Matt. We do vlogs, travel, and some camera stuff. And this is Camera Wars, the show where we give you the latest camera news and let you know just how the battle is heating up. First up, it has been a week of camera announcements, so let's start off this week with Canon's financial report. A couple of weeks ago I said that Canon expected to exceed expectations, and now it is official. They did indeed exceed those expectations. Canon saw a 49% rise in its operating income over 2019, despite sales in that segment decreasing by 25% year over year, likely due to the smartphone pandemic. No, I read it right. The Canon R5 and R6 were big sellers in the last half of 2020 and are expected to continue to do well in 2021, despite the R5 apparently being rendered obsolete by people who don't know how target markets work. But speaking of target markets, Fujifilm is releasing cameras in a class of their own, and the first camera they announced, I gotta admit, I don't like. And I like Fujifilm, but I am confused by this budget-friendly Fujifilm Xe4 camera. Didn't we just have the budget XS10? These cameras are almost identical except for all the changes. Here, just look at this comparison chart here. Both have a 26.1 megapixel APS-C sensor. Both have IBIS. Wait, no, that's not in the E4. Both have nearly identical photo specs, except for the E4 is a little slower in some categories. The video specs are the same. The E4 has a tilt screen and the XS10 has a flip screen, and they have completely different ergonomics. And the E4 cost $849, which is $150 less than the S10. My point is, my thesis obviously doesn't have merit, so we should move on. Because a camera that does excite me, and apparently excites a lot of people because it just jumped to #1 seller on B&H, is the new GFX 100S. Some of the spec highlights are a 102 megapixel medium format sensor. It has 16-bit bit depth, has 5-axis IBIS. Did I mention it was a medium format sensor? It shoots those 102 megapixel pictures at 5 frames per second, has a solid 3.69 million dot EVF, decent video specs, 4K 30 and 2K 60 10-bit, and 12-bit RAW externally. That's all pretty impressive considering the sensor size. And what's more impressive is the $6,000 price tag. It is available to pre-order at B&H and should ship out March 11th. But the GFX 100S isn't the only exciting camera that is available for pre-order and ships out in March. The Sony A1 was announced, and this saucy camera is full of pretty much, well, everything. It has a 50 megapixel full-frame CMOS sensor capable of capturing, get this, 30 frames per second. Electronic. Only 10 frames mechanical, but is supposed to have some magical light flickering technology that will make the electric just as good as the mechanical. I don't know. All I know is it is the best, and you should want it. It has their amazing eye autofocus that now works on birds and other woodland creatures. It will also shoot 8K 30, downsampled from 8.6K, that maybe doesn't overheat. It will shoot 4K 120, downsampled from 5.8K, so if you like Ks, it has you covered. Bring out your K! It also has all the rich green Sony profiles that Sony is known for, and now even comes with S-Cinetone. It will shoot 16-bit RAW external 4K, which is just silly, and has an impressive 15 plus stops of dynamic range. If you want a more extensive breakdown, you can check out my video from right after the announcement. Now, all jokes aside, this camera does seem incredible and is a feat of engineering, but a $6,500 camera really shouldn't be compared to the Canon EOS R5 and really should be compared with whatever the R1 has to offer. And speaking of what the R1 has to offer, apparently no one knows. Canon Rumors has been dropping multiple rumors talking about a global shutter, 20 plus stops of dynamic range, and now Canon Rumors are saying, I don't know, it will probably have 8K though. Apparently Canon Rumors sources are a little in the dark and nothing makes sense anymore. But they do expect this camera to make its debut in the second half of this year, so I guess we will have to wait and see. But while we are on the topic of making its debut, is the Sony A7 IV about to make its debut? According to Nokishita, there has been 5 new cameras registered from Sony, and none of these 5 cameras were the Sony A1. So what are these cameras? Well, 2 of them have a 5 gigs Wi-Fi, suggesting that they are high-end. If I had to guess, one of those are the Sony A7 IV. There's also a new RX camera that Sony Astrology Rumors has been talking about. Would that warrant 5 gigs Wi-Fi? Well, I'm not so certain. As for the other 3, it's really hard to say. I do think that one will be a $1,000 range full-frame camera to compete with the RP, and the other 2 really is anyone's guess. Maybe a new APS-C style camera or an action camera. I am really just spitballing here. So what are your guesses? What do you think these cameras could be? Drop in the comments section below and let me know. Well, that is the current state of the camera wars. If you've liked this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing. And until next time, peace.